now that a lot of people, a lot of good people have lost their jobs, what is the structure of the community game going forward?
Yeah, let me start with a little bit of context on it and the reasons why we've had to make the changes that we've made. And nobody ever wants to restructure organisations, remodel organisations, and most of all make people that are colleagues and have in many cases become friends redundant. But I think what it might help just to do is just understand the financial impact on the RFU. The RFU is no different really than any other rugby club. We generate the revenue from activity that happens on the pitch, largely at Twickenham, and off the pitch activities, largely at Twickenham. So whether that's Six Nations matches, autumn internationals, whether it's conferences, exhibitions, food and beverage sales, etc. And clearly with no rugby happening and no off-field activity happening, the impact on revenue has been massive. So the revenue was down for the last quarter of the 2019-20 year by about 15 million. And the projections for the current financial year that we're in, so our financial year runs from the 1st of July to the 30th of June, the revenue projections are down somewhere between 60 and 107 million. And from a context point of view, revenue this year was predicted to be somewhere between 150 and 160 million. So you can see those figures they're seismic. And all of our projections are that this is going to take between 4 and 5 years to recover from. So there will be a residual effect of somewhere between 15 and 20 million a year for the next 4 to 5 years. So we've had to look at reducing the cost base of the organisation, and that impacts right across the board. Unfortunately, as an organisation, we end up with quite a high fixed cost base in some areas. So as an example, the thing that helps us generate all the money is owning our own stadium, Twickenham. But the thing that costs a lot of money to keep operating nowadays is that same stadium, Twickenham. It's an aging asset, it's depreciating, it needs a lot of maintenance. And if it isn't generating revenue, then the cost is still there. To bring in the revenue, work with commercial partners, do broadcast deals, you can't cut those sorts of investments. 95% of our revenue is generated from the England senior men's team. So people then ask questions about, well, why aren't we reducing the money to the professional game and the high performance end of the game? Ultimately, that's the revenue generator. So we've had to make reductions right across the organisation. However, the community rugby piece, the rugby development piece, has taken a disproportionate hit. There's no doubt about that. And we've had to reduce our numbers significantly. What I would say is that, and this the point we've constantly made to all of our staff who are affected, is this absolutely isn't a statement about ineffectiveness or about things not working in the past. It's a statement about how things are going to have to be different in the future. We're no different than any other union in the world. You follow rugby around the globe, you'll know that down under in Australia and New Zealand, where COVID hasn't hit anywhere near as hard, the actual reductions that the New Zealand and Australian union have had to make are even more significant and severe than ours. Every other sport is doing it here. Football, we're ahead of us. Cricket are about a month behind us. So the impact on all of our revenues is significant. I think anybody on this call that works in business, or most people that work in business, have been affected in a similar way. And the second point to that is we need to keep remembering as well that the vast majority, 99+% of rugby is delivered by clubs and volunteers. And our role, in whatever shape we are, however size, however big an organisation we are, whatever resource we have, has to be to support those efforts. And that's where we will reboot going forward. We'll have 100 less staff involved, but we will still have a network of club developers. We'll have a network of coach developers. We'll have other teams of people who will be out working with clubs and CBs to develop rugby. They'll just be doing it in a different way. We're going through the recruitment process for those posts at the moment. We're very much hoping that many of the people that are currently out there that you'll know as rugby development officer or community rugby coaches will secure those new roles. There'll just be less of them, and they'll